Air pollution from power plants isn't the only environmental concern facing the state. A new study by the Sierra Club and other organizations found that over 200 plants across the nation are dumping heavy metals into waterways. 6 of the plants cited are in Oklahoma. StateImpact's Logan Layden examined the report. I spoke with him about the findings and concerns over water pollution. Logan, the Sierra Club and others released this study. How did they gather the information?
Well, it was really a full court press. They went FOIA, Freedom of Information Act stuff. They did it through self-reporting of the coal plants themselves and through government data. And because the reporting and the monitoring is so lax on some of these toxic metals, it's very difficult to get all that.
And they found that there are 6 Oklahoma plants that they named of the more than 200 plants nationwide that allow dumping into waterways.
That's right, and from what I can tell, they're all in eastern Oklahoma. I don't see any that are anywhere else.
What types of materials are getting into the water?
Well, there's a whole host of them. What kind are getting in? It's difficult to know with the reporting being so lax. But we're talking about arsenic, boron, selenium, mercury, lead. A pretty long list of different toxic metals.
Where's it all coming from?
That's the byproduct of burning the coal. It's in the coal ash, or it's caught up in scrubbers for plants that have scrubbers.
There are scrubbers, but then what happens to the material that is scrubbed out?
And that's the thing. The scrubbers are meant to clean the air, and there are plans in Oklahoma for some plants to install those. But it's really after it cleans the air, then what's left over, what was scrubbed, has to be gotten rid of and generally taken, like coal ash, into these ponds where the metals are allowed to settle before the water is then released into the waterways. But the concern is that there's plenty of those metals left even when they're being discharged.
How do these metals affect people?
A number of ways. We're talking about stunning development in children, perhaps. Several more carcinogens. Also, not just humans, but wildlife as well. Very unhealthy for fish and the wildlife in these waterways.
The report went on to say that there are 3 plants in Oklahoma that have expired clean water permits.
That's right, and that just goes to, again, the kind of lax monitoring and reporting with this. That's not necessarily illegal. These permits can be administratively extended while the process goes on, and it's not the case in Oklahoma, but there were some plants on the list that had permits that expired many, many years ago, more than 5 years ago.
When you talk about lax reporting, who is doing the lax reporting?
Well,
or not doing it?
The coal plants aren't reporting, but they're not really required to. The federal government is supposed to set the standards, and then the states create the plans to meet those standards. And in the absence of federal standards, the states are supposed to do it on their own, but it just hasn't really happened in the spirit of the Clean Water Act.
And the EPA is considering new standards.
They are, and they have been for actually quite some time, I think, and they have several options to choose from. It's unclear, and I talked to OG&E representatives, and they're really not sure how the new requirements would impact them because they don't know what they would be. They also use a third-party company to get rid of this waste. And they do say that even though they're not required to check on these metals, they do when they apply for new permits, and that they haven't found more than trace amounts or even non-detectable amounts before.
Logan Layden from StateImpact, Oklahoma. Thank you.
Thank you.